I come with a radical proposition, that is that understanding is an important thing for students to do. I promise I will make a lot of overstatements, nothing but overstatements in the next 5 minutes. There's no time for nuance at 15 seconds a slide. The Common Core standards say that students who lack understanding of a topic may rely heavily on procedures. I would say, add something to that. I would say that students who are only taught procedures may lack understanding. The Common Core, the California standards actually do emphasize understanding, in that they're in there 127 times the word understand or understanding is in there. But when you look at where the word understand appears, it really means know, not understand. So knowing is, so here's a good example, a grade 4 standard. Understand that 90 degrees, 180 degrees, and so on are associated with a quarter turn, half turn, etc. There's no understanding to do there. That's just a matter of knowing. They've substituted the word understand where they should have said no. They don't mean much understanding. So here's a quiz for you. What's the only strand in the 97 standards that is not tested on the CSTs? Math, reasoning. That's right. They say it's embedded. It's deeply embedded. I haven't found it yet. My challenge to you is to look for that. Follow the class of 2010 as they progress through the years. It sure looks like there's something about their mathematical background or training that is not sustaining them through a full academic career. The teacher's trapped in this. The teacher's probably got a curriculum that has very little to do with student understanding. The teacher has an assessment system that absolutely has nothing to do with student understanding. And then the accountability system is the muscle in the system. That's just the enforcer of the assessment system. Think about algebra. So follow the class of 2010 leading up to their 8th grade algebra class. There really is something that students need to understand to be prepared to succeed in algebra. There really is. You'll see it here as they go to the 9th grade algebra course. If you're an algebra teacher and you're faced with a class full of students that do not understand the things they need to be ready for algebra, then you start to look for expedient ways to help those students get good scores on the tests, because that's the only way California measures success, is scores on tests. Let's do some. You may know how to do this. It's the diamond method. You put the 7 down below. Up above, 15 times -2. Don't ask why, just put it there. The -30, now we're looking for numbers that add up to 7 and multiply to -30, that's -3 and 10. Draw a line, put that 15 from before down below. Do they look like fractions? They are. Reduce them. Now put those numbers up above and you have factored 15x squared plus 7x minus 2. A perfect example of a procedural device bereft of understanding. Now let's graph a line. We all do this. We put the 3, that's called the y-intercept. It goes on the y-axis. You go over 1 and that -2 says go down 2 and put a dot there. Connect the dots with a straight line. And there's the graph of y equals -2x plus 3. I've seen this taught to classes of students that did not know that what they were doing, that the line is a set of points in the plane that satisfy the equation. They're simply being taught how to produce that because that's a standard and the other one isn't a standard. I refer to the atomization of mathematics as a reduction of mathematics to a list of very specific bits of math that are believed to comprise math. I think this is a completely wrong-headed view of what mathematics really is, but it has been pervasive and it has been a growth industry over the last decade. This is what most of the computerized systems for teaching students are based on, this itemized list. They make this big list of skills they want students to have. They find out which ones they have and which ones they don't have. They make them do them. Placement tests were written to check for student skills with the idea that those skills were reflective of some understanding. But as students are trained just on that list of skills, they're increasingly able to pass placement tests without knowing what they need to go into the next class. And this is a big problem at the university. The good news is the new California standards do have a greater emphasis on understanding. And when they say understand, they mean know. And they were written to defy atomization. I want to talk about low expectations, not for students, but for teachers. Low expectations for teachers looks like what they call teacher-proof curricula, scripted curricula that doesn't ask teachers to teach students to understand. I believe that over the past decade, generally teacher skills have atrophied because of the situation in which teachers are teaching. You can't teach what you don't know is what is commonly used to push for professional development around content knowledge. I would say you aren't successfully teaching if your students aren't understanding. And so I would like to call for a wave of professional development centered on teaching students for understanding. Here's a bunch of things that we know won't work. one-time workshops, big binders of information, computer-delivered workshop. And then the last thing, of course, that won't work is a 5-minute presentation. Thank you.